You just heard the song Nei from the anime Hiro no Kakera by the artist Maiko Fujita. And this is episode 136 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where our sole mission is
to make your anime addiction worse.
Break it down for me. My name is Mitsugi, and I am joined tonight by the two co-hosts, Chiaki
Sup?
and Kimiko.
Hi, everybody.
You can find us at our homepage, www.aaapodcast.com. We're also on iTunes. Please rate us if you love us. Even if you like us, rate us.
Yeah, we'll go with likes, but nothing less than a like.
We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast.
Yes.
So come check us out there.
Give us a like there.
We're also live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ustream.tv. Links on the top page of the website. So, don't be a stranger. Join the ranks.
We are getting questions in the chat about Kimiko. Kimiko has graduated, which means she's home now. Which means she now has joined the ranks of Roko of being invisible.
I'm so far away.
I missed you! It's like my left side is empty. Mitsugi now going closer. Closer. Sit on each other's laps.
Snuggle! Snuggle! That's what they want to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have forum members.
We do?
And speaking of Roko, we did a hentai episode, so that'll be out soon.
Ooh.
Woot!
Actually, it'll probably be out by the time you hear this, on iTunes at least.
Ooh.
If you're special and you watch live,
Even
you get
more
to see
woot.
it. Yeah, woots. Forum members: Honor64, Rogue Kitty 75, Anal Bandit Rip Menma, Georgia Milldog, and Ghost Rider 15.
I call Rogue Kitty.
You stealer!
Yeah, yeah.
I call Anal Bandit Rip Menma. Sorry, I just think it's funny.
No, it is.
You totally would. I'll go Ghost Rider 15. So, Ghost Rider 15 is actually in the chat because he is awesome. Presumably a he.
We love you.
So, yeah.
Oh, Butt Pirate 69 in the chat is Anal Bandit.
Oh, okay. We have some anal bandit all over.
I'm connecting the dots.
Yes, I am too. That's good.
Nice.
Good to know. So, we also had trivia. It existed this week.
It did, and you know what? The next week's trivia is now up.
Oh,
Bye,
I never seem to know the answers, so maybe I should look at it. The answer was Perona from One Piece.
Yes, it was. And this month's theme is Pretty in Pink. Pink-haired anime characters, and no, Utena is not on the list. Though I thought about it.
I never seem to know the pictures you put up.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why.
Does it make you sad?
I think it's my memory. It's just too terrible.
That's because you're an old man.
Pretty much everybody who attempted this question got it. So, good for you guys.
Yay.
It just means that you all have a smaller % chance of actually winning for the week. Blame each other, not me. Well, you can blame Chiaki.
What?
Well, you're the one that posted the question.
Huh?
The correct answers are from Koti Modio, Evil Nick 06, Apocalypse 369, Padalite, Soul Rogue, Scab, Tony Tiger 89, Anal Bandit Rip Memma, Short Term Crook, Angel Wing 0, Nergy, Manly Mudkip, Shake a Spear, Mad Tyrant 1384, and Yesernti.
Yes, certainty.
Yesernti likes to submit their answers like 4 minutes before the show starts, so now I must check promptly as the show is starting to make sure. The winner for the week is Apocalypse 369, so congratulations. You had a 3% chance of winning, and you won.
Yay!
Which makes you special.
Congrats.
It's always good to win the lottery. So.
I wish we were the lottery. Be awesome.
Yeah, we don't have enough money in our PayPal account to be the lottery.
No.
But, we do have birthdays. As we cut through the swath of clerical, our listeners are awesomeness.
Well, they are awesome, so that's why it takes a while.
Yeah. The birthdays for the week are Mentos Not Mental,
Yay!
finally legal.
And by the way, I saw Mentos posted pictures of graduation because I'm her Facebook friend.
Aw, congrats, Mentos. We love you.
Mentos.
And she's 18, so I will reiterate my smart-ass comment. Finally legal.
So now we're not creepy when we flirt with you. No, I'm just...
Muster Crux. I always want to say Master Crux. Muster Crux. Project 5. Roly 1080 and Erndon. You all had
Erndon.
birthdays.
Happy birthday to you all. And that's all I'm going to sing.
Tan, Jobi Omerito.
Your birthday music is the Flying Boatman from Porco Rosso. So
Woo!
enjoy this. If anybody would like to select or recommend for me fresh birthday music, I would like that.
Oh,
This is a nice song, but it's not birthday-ish enough.
we could all just sing. We can make
There's
that
not
music.
that is not happening.
No.
In case you didn't notice, I tend to go for instrumentals. So
Our resident butt pirate suggests Schubert's Ave Maria or Bach Prelude for Cello.
Ooh, I like the Bach Prelude for cello.
nice selections. We just had some classical music, so I was going back to anime, but
Or I could sing Happy Birthday in Yan.
In neon?
Yan, 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 yan.
oh, the things you can't unrecord.
Wow.
So we have mailbags.
Yay!
As I regain control of the podcast and continue.
We only let you have the illusion that you have control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, naturally, naturally. So
I'll take the first mailbag.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. The first letter of sorts is from Takoyaki Konran. And it's, "Hi, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I love your show." That's good to know.
We love you.
Every year, our school's anime/gaming club fundraises to go to Anime North, a big convention in Toronto. Very first Anime Con. What things to do or places to go would you recommend to first-timers? And what things to avoid to keep them from freaking out and never coming back? Thank you.
Kimiko cut out in the middle of the question. The sentence that was
Damn.
missed was, each year there are people for whom this is their very first con. So what things are there to do or places that we would recommend to first timers?
I assume if you're fundraising to go to a big local convention, I'm guessing you're in college because that's going to kind of affect what I say on this one. But if you are in college and it's a big con, there's probably 18 plus stuff, so stay for the 18 plus stuff. Because I have to say, I really have never been to an 18 plus panel that's let me down. And sometimes the best panels are the 18 plus panels that are like, this is a panel about nothing, and you just like laugh until you piss your pants.
Or they're okay, yeah. Except I've been to some panels like that would scar you for life.
Well, you know, you roll the dice on that. But
Generally, like the trivia, I think like the anime name that tune are normally consistently harmless.
yeah, I think
Don't go to a panel that's hosted by 4chan.
oh yeah, well, you know, that's your first indicator, 4chan.
Indicator to go.
If it was someone's first anime con, I just think I'd encourage them to do as much as they possibly could. I know that may sound lame, but like, seriously, go all out.
We have done a topic on this already, but the first thing you need to do is get the schedule and sit down in your hotel room with a Sharpie and highlight things you want to do. That way you don't have to stand around and think about what you want to do, because normally there's no break in between events.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one event will end at 10 and another event will start at 10, but they're not in the same place.
Yeah.
So you generally have to be organized or you're going to miss out on stuff. So, any thoughts, Kimiko?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I think we got the best possible opportunities in Otakon because we went and highlighted everything that each of us wanted to do separately and then kind of combined them into an overall schedule that all of us could kind of correlate to. And we got to see a lot of awesome shows and got to talk to a lot of awesome people because of that. So definitely, I mean, make sure you know exactly what you want to do everything that you want to do done, because a con is only as good as the events and panels and people that are there, and the dealer's room, of course, but that's a whole other story.
You know what I think the best thing to do is sit them down in a room, lock the door, turn off all the lights, turn on a projector, and show them a picture of Man-Faye.
What?
And go, you might see this.
Prepare yourself.
If you can handle this, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be okay.
It's like a military briefing. You're in like the war room. We expect radioactive nuclear anthrax.
Yeah. This is gonna be the hardest thing that you're gonna do in your life.
If you see Man-Faye's ass, do not touch it.
No, Tony Tiger in the chat says, am I the only person that respects Man-Faye? You know what? I respect Man-Faye because I don't think I would look half as good as Man-Faye in yellow hot pants. I don't think I'd have the courage. So,
No, he is an impressive individual.
Yeah, and then, the other thing that people in the chat are bringing up is Confunk. So while you are showing a picture of Man-Faye, make them smell each other's armpits. And then go, this is...
You cannot duplicate the smell of Confunk merely with armpit smell. That is not what it is.
Because there's not
It is so much more than that.
Because there's not enough shame in armpits.
You have to, in order to develop Confunk, you must carefully culture and nurture the cheesiness.
Oh, dear God.
Hey, you went there. And by the way, I would look better than Man-Faye in hot yellow pants.
Why don't you wear them?
Maybe I will.
Oh my god, if I make you a fake costume, will you become the next
Oh god,
Man-Faye?
it's tempting.
Oh, Jesus. What are we doing?
we're making history, Kimiko. That's what we're doing. Can I read the next one?
If you must.
Well, it's on here. I mean...
Then do it!
Oh, it's gonna be one of those
gain
nights.
gain control. It can't be. We're doing a serious topic.
Why don't we just... Okay. Raid23 writes, hi, I know I'm not a regular viewer on Ustream or post or anything on the forums. I still know who you are. But I still download all the shows on iTunes and I love it. Yay! I have only one question and maybe it has already been answered, but I don't care because I'm too lazy to look for it. I don't blame you. The question is, what is your biggest, scariest nightmare that you can think of that can ruin anime forever? With great support, Raid23. Spiders. An anime about spiders. With, gruesome detail.
He says anime forever, like anime as in plural. So maybe an anime about spiders might ruin that anime. But how about anime doesn't? How about they stop making anime?
Yeah, well, that would ruin anime if they stopped making it.
Basically.
I don't know. I think they're doing. They're. I don't mean to be pessimistic, but they're sort of doing a good job already. I mean,
in Mitsugi's world, they're already working on it.
I mean, they're putting forth their best effort. I mean, come on now. 65% of anime take place in schools with an ordinary boy or girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Etc. We've been through this.
I don't know if there's an anime that can ruin, or a nightmare that would ruin anime forever. Maybe something like I guess a nightmare is in part unrealistic, so maybe if all anime had spiders in it, that would be a nightmare for me. That would ruin anime forever. Or if they decided to make all of the voices in all anime done by like a 13-year-old girl. You know that voice? Every single... Think of your favorite anime, picture it in your head, and think of that one crappy mommy character that talks like this, and this is all she talks about, and even worse...
You're doing it.
When everything ends in a question, You know when everything at the end of the sentence goes up? Because that's how she talks? That.
Oh, God.
If every voice in every show was that.
Do you have any additional thoughts, Kimiko?
I'm thinking that on top of killer clowns for the materialistic aspect of something that could ruin anime, and then maybe Inception-esque fabricated reality, because that stuff just messes me up like nobody's business. So if all anime had that sort of time, or that sort of concept, I would probably stop watching anime.
How about budget cuts across all studios?
That too.
I'm being serious now. It's like anime. We love anime because it's looking good is an important part of anime, right? So mass budget cuts, and all of a sudden, all anime looks terrible, and in addition to not having much of a story.
No,
right?
It's true. I mean, I'm one of those people. I can't watch an anime to admit this, but I can't watch an anime that's animated poorly. The 80s anime, I can't watch that because it's just not the sort of anime that I'm accustomed to. So if that happened, I probably would stop watching.
So, in sum, what would ruin the anime industry for all of us is if it keeps doing what it's doing, it loses all of its budget and has to use, like, underpaid 13-year-old girls for all their voices. There are killer clowns riding spiders.
Exactly.
Question: someone, our resident butt pirate in the chat asked a few minutes ago, how do you submit mailbags? We should be saying this on a weekly basis, but we
That's
haven't
true.
been.
We take you guys for granted that most of you have been around. I apologize. On the main page of AAApodcast.com, there are 2 bars. The top bar has some clerical stuff and various things, and the bottom bar, which is kind of pinky red, has a number of things, but one of the tabs is called Mailbag, conveniently located next to the blog, which I always recommend checking out. And on that mailbag is a very simple little form thing for you to fill out that gets sent to us, and we get through them all eventually, in no particular order.
Yeah, we don't skip mailbags.
Yeah.
We prioritize them sometimes, but we don't
Yeah.
skip them.
So.
Anyway, so we do have a really good topic today. I'm excited about it.
Are you?
I am.
Oh, that's good.
We are talking about Japanese mythology. So, recommended by Bursting Out Life from the forum. It's a very forum episode.
Yeah, it is a very forum episode.
Yeah, we respect the forum.
Well, that's normally how it works, is it's like, we go in cycles of, okay, new anime's out, quickly get our impressions, then do the forums, and then review those anime, so...
We also have 3 reviews for you. We have reviews of Bardock, Father of Goku, AU Densetsu Sora no Kiseki the animation, and Winter Cicada. Yowie!
Legit.
And we'll be back after a quick news break.
Hey all you host club employees out there, this is Chiaki and this is your anime news break. First up, for those of you who are gearing up for the Los Angeles Convention Anime Expo, they're slowly starting to release their full guest list and we are all waiting with bated breath to see who's on it. They're releasing it via their online broadcast and posting it on their website. Most recently, they've announced that the director of Fate Zero and the Garden of Sinners, Ei Aoki, will be in attendance. Aoki will participate in a meet and greet event, an autograph session, and a focus panel. The same broadcast also announced that voice actor Rikiya Koyama, who was also in Fate Zero and Naruto Shippuden, will appear at the event and will similarly participate in a meet and greet, autograph session, and focus panel. So, it sounds like if you're a fan of Fate Zero, Anime Expo could be a great con for you to attend. In other news, the award-winning anime director Mamoru Hosoda of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and Summer Wars, has made his debut as a novelist with the O Kami Kodomo no Ame to Yuki, or The Wolf Children Ame and Yuki, or just Wolf Children book, coming up with release on June 22nd. The novel is the basis for the July 21st film of the same name that Hosoda himself is directing. Both the novel and the film carry the theme of parents and children. The story covers 13 years and begins with a 19-year-old college student named Hana who encounters and falls in fairy tale-like love with a wolf man. After marrying the wolf man, Hana gives birth and raises 2 wolf children, an older sister named Yuki, who was born on a snowy day, and a younger brother named Ame, or Rain, who was born on a rainy day. When the wolf man suddenly dies, Hana decides to move to a rural town far removed from the city. If it's anything like his other films, I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch it, and I'm fairly sure I'm going to enjoy it, and hopefully the novel will be translated into English so I can enjoy that as well. Finally, as a gamer myself and a lover of Studio Ghibli, you know I'm keeping up with E3, and the video game news website IGN has begun streaming the E3 2012 English trailer for Level 5 and Studio Ghibli's Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch video game this past week. The trailer reveals that the game will be released in North America on January 22nd of 2013. I know I, for one, cannot wait to get my hands on this game. It looks like it's going to be awesome. I know we've talked about it before, but there's an English trailer out now at IGN.com, and I recommend checking it out for yourself. This was Chiaki, and this was your Anime News Break. Don't go anywhere, don't make me cry. We'll be back to the show soon.
So you want to hear people talk about Japanese cartoons?
You know, anime.
But you think the other anime podcasters just aren't nerdy enough?
Sounds like you need to join forces with the Anime World Order.
Where each week 3 self-proclaimed experts offer you reviews
Of titles both new and classic, news and commentary.
Rants, convention reports, interviews with fandom.
and some hentai and yaoi for good measure.
So search for anime in the iTunes Music Store.
Or visit our website at animeworldorder.com.
Anime World Order, revealing the truth about anime, one podcast at a time.
Hi, I'm J. Michael Tatum. I play Sebastian in Black Butler, and I'm a total anime addict.
And we're back
Yay!
with the 136th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast.
Continuing to make your anime addiction worse.
Oh,
I'm proud of it.
I am so behind on my animes. It is so bad.
They all just keep going.
But I am quitting my job on the 15th. That's my last day. So I will have lots of time to watch anime.
Yay!
Woot!
So this topic is going to be good, I think.
Oh,
Maybe it'll suck.
I think we should go with the opinion that every time we do a topic, it's awesome.
Yeah. I tend to think that I like the topics we do.
Just because it's us talking.
But we're not experts on Japanese mythology, but the internet is. So you can learn a lot of things from the internet.
And we have degrees in looking stuff up.
So Bursting Out Life requested the topic. The question was, I would love it if you could do something on Japanese mythology and on how certain symbols, meanings are different in Japan than they are here. So we have a list of things to talk about. Most of mine are either Japanese folklore or Shinto religious beliefs. Chiaki took a different approach. So maybe we should start with your approach, since that's how it's numbered on the.
Well, we could go back and forth.
No.
Do it that way.
No,
No?
I think it's easier just to stick with the symbols and then go onto the mythology aspect of it.
Okay. So I kind of stuck with like a true and more like literal sense of symbolism of something, of course, standing for something else. One of the first symbol or symbolism that we kind of have, different things is lucky and unlucky numbers. And of course, here in America, we're like, oh, lucky number 7, lucky number 3, 13 is unlucky, whatever. In Japan, the number 4 is
Not so lucky.
not so lucky. In fact, if you notice over there, like it's very common here in America when you buy something to get it in a set of 4, because that's kind of like the traditional family size. Mom, dad, 2 kids.
Right.
So if you get placemats, they come in a set of 4, or it's like normally like 4 or 6 is kind of what you get it in. But in Japan,
This is not the case.
This is not the case, and Bobatsko brings up a good point. It's also the same in China too. So some of these are not like exclusive
I believe that's because of the same
language.
written language
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yes. But the reason why 4 is considered unlucky, and you don't give gifts in sets of 4, and like if you buy sets of chopsticks, they come in sets of 5 and things like that, is because 4 sounds like the word death. One of the
Death.
pronunciations for it.
She.
She.
Because the word for 4 is she or yon,
Yes.
but then the word for death is shin.
Yes.
So that can cause a problem.
Um.
Don't they also skip the 4th floor in elevators or something? Am I going crazy? Maybe that's number 13 in here.
I know it's number 13 here for sure. I
maybe
don't know
that's
if they
just-
do that in, Japan or anything like that. as well.
I sort of wonder. It makes sense that the word for 4 in Japanese is strikingly similar to the word for death, but why is 7 lucky and why is 13 unlucky? I just don't know. I'm sure there's a very easy. I'm just gonna look it up. Talk.
Another number that also is considered unlucky in Japan is the number 9, because again with the pronunciation, the number 9 is sometimes pronounced ku, which can mean suffering. But you don't see that as often as the number 4, just because I think 4, you have the whole gift giving thing that comes up a lot more. And it's funny because of the whole like cross-cultural thing, but the number 13 is actually kind of somewhat permeated as being unlucky, but that's entirely a Western influence at that point.
Okay, so I have an answer for number 7. Person writes, there are 7 cosmic stages, 7 heavens, 7 hells, 7 pillars of wisdom, 7 rainbow colors, 7 in Buddhism, 7 is the number of attaining the center. In China, there are 7 fairies. The Bible mentions 7 circuits of Jericho. Egyptians knew 7 daughters of Ra. 7 is a perfect number and the number of completion. We have 7 main chakras. There are 7 cosmic stages we live on.
7 sins.
7 sins. 7 daughters of Ra. Maybe I already said that. Pan had 7 pipes. I don't know. There's like 7 is like the shiz,
Yeah.
apparently.
And then one other number, just for fun with numbers while we're on the subject. Sometimes, as Mitsuki was saying, I think in Japan you will sometimes see like hotels and stuff not have the 4th floor. I think that just depends on when the hotel was built and,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think that's probably more like for old buildings.
Yeah. Or, of course it is the 4th floor. They just call it 4-5 on the elevator button. But one thing that does still kind of exist throughout Japan with numbers and floors is the room number 43 in hospitals, especially in the maternity section, is avoided because it can literally mean stillbirth. So you will never see a room 43 in a hospital, especially maternity section.
Why is 13 unlucky? In Christianity, the Last Supper had 13 attendants. In Norse mythology, a banquet of 12 deities was interrupted by the evil god Loki, making the 13th number making him the 13th god.
Loki.
Metatron's cube has 13 circles, which I guess it's a magical object, and magic is often associated with evil. There's a whole bunch of these. So it seems similar to number 7.
Yeah.
It all goes back to like religious stuff.
So basically, the difference in the numbers in some is The unlucky numbers in Japan are unlucky because they have pronunciations that are similar to other words that are considered to be unlucky. Whereas unlucky numbers in America are unlucky because they have some kind of religious / historical significance that makes them unlucky or lucky.
Okay, so numbers. Good.
So numbers. Next, we're, doing the whole preschool thing. So now that we've covered numbers, let's cover colors.
I like colors.
Do you like colors?
I do. I like colorful things.
And I just picked 2 colors. I mean, there's a lot of, color difference, in many cultures, but between Japan and America, there's not too many striking differences between the meanings of colors. And it's funny because it's one thing that, like, when I was getting my MBA, all of the international professors were like, never underestimate the importance of color, which sounds stupid, but they're like, you don't want to go to a business meeting wearing, a purple tie or whatever if purple means that you're inexperienced. Or, like, you don't want to wear the wrong thing to a party kind of thing.
You don't want to wear the wrong colors in the wrong part of Ireland. You don't want to wear Protestant colors in a Catholic area. What?
Do churches have colors?
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yes, they do. I'll look it up for you. Talk.
That's like your thing this episode.
Just talk. Damn it.
But for example, green is one of the colors that I picked out. And green kind of has a number of things that it can represent here. You got, like, nature, good luck, like 4-leaf clover kind of thing. But it can also be, like, jealousy, envy, green with envy type of thing. Okay, Mitsuki's raising his hand.
Orange is a symbolic color of Irish Protestants.
Oh, okay.
And what is it? And it continues. Green is the color for Catholics.
Yeah.
I've been to Ireland. There's a lot of fighting still, and you don't want to wear an orange shirt to a very dangerous Catholic area of Ireland. I'm just saying.
No, I believe you. I just find it oxymoronic to be like dangerous Christians. That's a whole religious discussion.
Someone in the chat said you don't want to wear red to a crypt meeting.
Yes.
I guess that's a similar idea.
That too. Actually, in the chat, honor
64.
Thank you. Mentioned wearing white, that it's always neutral, but even that's not entirely safe, because some cultures white equals death as bobots go, or not even necessarily death, but it's just what you wear to funerals and when you're in mourning. So no color is safe, but
play it safe and you play it boring.
anyways, so what I was saying is that green, can represent a number of things, but one of the big things that green represents in Japan is it's the color of eternal life, because it comes from, the evergreens, and there's actually there was actually a big, I think it was like a Sam's Club type equivalent place called Midori, and Midori means green. But this place, it was called Midori because it was open 24 hours. So that kind of always open, always live.
Yeah.
Which open 24 hours is a big thing in Japan.
Good.
You don't really see that.
Important.
The other color I picked out was red. And the only reason why I picked this out, a lot of it's the same. You got passion, you got fire, you got vitality, energy. Of course, red is a special color in some ways to the Japanese culture because you have the sun represented in red on their flag, so it's a nationalistic color in some ways. But the only thing that I found interesting was that with the color red, in Japan, red cats, or like, that orange reddish color, are considered to be bad luck, not black cats. So.
I don't get it. Why? What is wrong with red cats?
I don't know what's wrong with black cats. Actually, I know what the answer to that, but...
What is the answer to that?
Because they're traditionally associated with witches, but I don't know why they got traditionally associated with witches, so... But, yeah.
Familiars.
Yeah.
Oh god, let's not get on to that topic again.
But yeah, traditionally in, like, red cats are traditionally like orangey cats. I think their actual technical coloring name is like red.
Like Milo?
Like Milo.
Milo's is a good kitty.
But
For those of you that get that reference, Milo and Otis is actually a Japanese film. Didn't know that till my tutor told me. Unbelievable.
did it blow your mind?
It did. It blew my face off. Okay? I guess it makes sense because in America, if you could never throw a cat into a random box and then throw the box into a river and then film that. You're like, oh yes, PCA will be like on you so good.
And then the last symbol, the last literal symbol that I picked out for this discussion, is something that, I just wanted to touch on because as a Buddhist, it always kind of bothered me. But, there is the Buddhist swastika, and most people are like, they see it and they go, oh my god, there's so many Nazis in Japan. And you're like, no. But the swastika is an Indian name.
God, it's so ignorant.
And it comes from the Sanskrit word svasti, meaning good luck, good fortune, well-being. And in Buddhism, the swastika signifies auspiciousness, good fortune. It's also called the Buddha's footprints and the Buddha's heart. And it's said to contain like the whole mind of the Buddha. And you'll see it everywhere. And for temples, temples on a map, Buddhist temples, they'll mark with the swastika. The Buddhist swastika is almost always, doesn't have to be, but like 99.9% of the time, it's almost always clockwise, whereas the swastika adapted by the Nazis is counterclockwise. So
people won't notice that though.
But that's the thing, is it's like, it's technically different if you're familiar enough with the symbols, but the problem is that people aren't familiar enough with the symbols that they just see it and go, oh, it's a swastika, Nazis, yay. Probably not Nazis, yay.
Nazis, yay.
Never, scratch the yay from that. But like, I can't tell you, when I was in Korea with my class, and we were looking at a map because it's it's a symbol for Buddhism, not just in Japan, but all across, Buddhism pretty much everywhere. But some of the people in my class were like, is there a big Nazi group here in Korea? I keep seeing the Nazi symbol on maps, and I'm just like, oh my god. No. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. So that was one symbol that I wanted to bring up, so that way people knew. People knew.
You're creating positive awareness of something that is a problem.
Yes, because again, as a Buddhist, I have some things with the swastika on it, the clockwise swastika, and I don't like tote them around because I realize here in America people don't know, but like
Good call.
Yeah. But if someone sees it, I don't want them to be like, "Oh my god, you're a Nazi," because Buddhism and Nazism are like so far apart from each other. It's not funny. Okay.
Are you an inglorious bastard?
I am. I would totally. Brad Pitt's hot.
Kill Nazis.
Yeah.
I can say that and no one will care. We're gonna be killing us some Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh no, I offended a Nazi. Oh no. Oh. Thank you, Canada Man, for that comment. So are you out of symbols?
Mm-hmm.
My approach to this, and I just sent you both a link. Hopefully you can open that while I'm talking.
You sent us a link?
I did.
Over what?
Over Skype.
Over Skype?
My approach to this next section is I basically looked up several folk tales, right? And then wrote down what I believe is probably one of the most important sections of the Shinto lore, which is the creation of Japan.
Yes.
Which is pretty interesting. I really like it. But I'm trying to figure out what the best way is to present these folk tales. The reason I sent you a link is that my first thought...
Are we going to have story time?
My first thought is that we should just straight up read them because they're short. And then I sent you a link so that you guys could do the actual dialogue while maybe I would narrate it.
Yeah, let's have story time, AAA style.
Okay.
Well, you have to open up the link first.
I already did.
Already did.
The first tale is called Little Peachling or Momotaro.
Yeah.
And I guess that I will read it. Chiaki can be Momotaro and Kimiko can be all of the other voices, of which I think there are like four animal voices and then like an ogre at the end. And
So that's me?
Yeah.
you're the four animals and the ogre. If we like the way this turns out, we could read the other ones.
Okay.
They're all short.
Okay.
Many hundred years ago, there lived an honest old woodcutter and his wife. One fine morning, the old man went off to the hills with his billhook, I have no idea what that is, to gather a faggot of sticks while his wife went down to the river. Don't laugh.
Old school words.
Yeah,
I
it is
love
old
them.
school. The wife went down to the river to wash the dirty clothes. When she came to the river, she saw a peach floating down the stream. And you'll see this literally in the beginning of My Neighbor the Yamadas.
You know, if you had told me we were doing this, I would have made like popsicle puppets. Can we
Oh.
do this again?
I guess. So she picked it up and carried it home with her, thinking it to give it to her husband to eat when he should come in. The old man came down from the hills, and the good wife set the peach before him. When, just as she was inviting him to eat it, the fruit split in two, and a little puling baby was born into the world. So the couple took the babe and brought it up as their own. And because it had been born in a peach, they called it Momotaro, or Little Peachling. By degrees, Little Peachling grew up to be strong and brave, and at last, one day, to his foster parents, he said,
I am going to the Org's Island to carry off the riches that they have stored up there. Pray, then, make me some millet dumplings for my journey.
by the way, that word's ogre.
Yeah, ogre.
You said orgs.
Oh.
Okay, so the old, I can read. So the old folks ground the millet and made the dumplings for him, and Little Peachling, after taking an affectionate leave of them, cheerfully set out on his travels. As he was journeying on, he fell in with a monkey, who gibbered at him and said,
Kia, kia. Bling.
One more time, Kimiko.
God damn it. Kia, kia, kia. Where are you off to, little peachling?
I am going to the Ogre's Island to carry off their treasure.
answered Little Peachling.
What are you carrying at your girdle?
I'm carrying the very best millet dumplings in all Japan.
If you'll give me one, I will go with you.
Said the monkey. So Little Peachling gave one of his dumplings to the monkey, who received it and followed him. When he had gone a little further, he heard a pheasant calling,
Ken. Where are you off to, Master Peachling?
Little Peachling answered as before, and the pheasant, having begged and obtained a millet dumpling, entered his service and followed him. After a little while, they met a dog who cried,
Bow, wow, wow. Whither away, Master Peachling?
I'm going off to the
Ogre.
ogre.
Oh my god.
I'm going off to the Ogre's Island to carry off their treasure.
If you will give me one of those nice millet dumplings of yours, I will go with you.
Said the dog.
With all my heart.
Said Little Peachling. So he went on his way with the monkey, the pheasant, the dog, following after him. When they got to the ogre's island, the pheasant flew over the castle gate, and the monkey clambered over the castle wall, while Little Peachling, leading the dog, forced in the gate and got into the castle. When they did battle with the ogres, and put them to fight, and took their king prisoner. So all the ogres did homage to Little Peachling, and brought out the treasures which they had laid up. There were caps and coats that made their wearers invisible, jewels which governed the ebb and flow of the tide, coral, musk, emeralds, amber, and tortoise shell, besides gold and silver. All were laid before Little Peachling by the conquered ogres. So Little Peachling went home laden with riches, and maintained his foster parents in peace and plenty for the remainder of their lives. Source A.B. Mitford, Tales of Old Japan.
Yeah.
Woo!
Since we read that verbatim, I thought we should cite it.
Let's pick a story with easier words than ogres.
If people,
What's hard about ogres?
I don't know. My mouth doesn't want to make those shapes. Ogres.
Ogres. Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Giggity giggity.
Which one are we doing next, Mitsuki?
I'm not 100% sure if we should do the other ones just because they're a lot longer.
Just one more. One more.
One more. Can we play?
It's fun.
One more?
Please. Please.
Please.
Okay.
The stonecutter? Oh, the stonecutter is long, isn't it?
It's a little bit longer.
The
So,
tongue-cat sparrow's short.
well, I went through them all, and I think the most interesting ones are the stonecutter and the bamboo cutter.
I don't mind. Oh, the bamboo cutter is another.
It has hard words in it.
Are they many? Are they many syllable words?
If we do the bamboo cutter, we should take turns reading the paragraphs.
Okay, we can play popcorn. Can we play popcorn?
I don't know what that is.
You never played popcorn? Did you play popcorn?
I can
Kimiko?
pronounce the word ogre. Does that count for something? All right, we'll take turns
I
reading.
played
We'll take turns reading the paragraphs.
She played popcorn.
That's good.
Wait. Which one is it? The woodsman and the old priest?
No, it's not on that same page. You have to go back to the document and click the highlighted words, Tale of the Bamboo Cutter.
Okay, sorry.
I'm going to read it, okay?
Wait. I can't find that one.
It's a link on the document.
On our outline.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, we'll take turns.
Got it.
One day, while walking in the bamboo forest, an old childless bamboo cutter called Taketori no Okina, or the old man who harvests bamboo, came across a mysterious, shining stalk of bamboo. After cutting it open, he found inside it a baby the size of his thumb. He rejoiced to find such a beautiful girl and took her home.
Size of his thumb.
He and his wife raised her as their child and named her Kaguya Hime, Princess of Flexible Bamboos Scattering Light, is what that means. Thereafter, Taketori no Okina found that whenever he cut down a stalk of bamboo, inside there would be a small nugget of gold. Soon he became rich. Kaguya Hime grew from a small baby into a woman of ordinary size and extraordinary beauty. At first, Taketori no Okina tried to keep her away from the outsiders, but over time, the news of her beauty had spread.
Eventually, 5 princes came to Taketori no Okina's residence to ask for Kaguya Hime's hand in marriage. The princess eventually persuaded Taketori no Okina to tell a reluctant Kaguya Hime to choose from among them. Kaguya Hime concocted impossible tasks for the princes, agreeing to marry the one who managed to bring her his specified item. That night, Taketori no Okina told the 5 princes what each must bring. The first was told to bring her a stone begging bowl of the Buddha from India. The second, a jeweled branch from the island of Horai. The third, popcorn Kimiko. Oh, that didn't work.
And now it's stupid.
Oh. The third, the legendary robe of the fire rat from China. The fourth, a colored jewel from a dragon's neck. And the final prince, the cowrie, which was born from shallows.
It's amazing how many of these different items are referenced in anime. The fire rat robe, isn't that an item from the beginning of Inuyasha? Remember? And the island of Horai is referenced in the 12 Kingdoms because the center island in the middle is called Mount Horai. It's also an island.
Oh, wow.
All right, next paragraph.
Is that me?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay. Realizing that it was an impossible task, the first prince returned with an expensive bowl. But after noticing that the bowl did not glow with holy light, Kaguya Hime saw through his deception. Likewise, 2 other princes attempted to deceive her with fakes, but also failed. The storm, while the final prince lost his life, really injured.
After this, the Emperor of Japan, Mikado, came to see the strangely beautiful Kaguya Hime, and upon falling in love, asked her to marry him. Although he was not subjected to the impossible trials that had thwarted the princes, Kaguya Hime rejected his request for marriage as well, telling him that she was not of his country, and thus could not go to the palace with him. She stayed in contact with the Emperor, but continued to rebuff his requests.
That summer, when Kaguya Hime saw the full moon, her eyes filled with tears. Though her adopted parents worried greatly and questioned her, she was unable to tell them what was wrong. Her behavior became increasingly erratic until she revealed that she was not of this world and must return to her people on the moon. In some versions of this tale, it is said that she was sent to Earth as a temporary punishment for some crimes, while others say it was safety during a celestial war.
As the day of her return approached, the Emperor set many guards around her house to protect her from the Moon People. But when an embassy of heavenly beings arrived at the door of the Taketori no Okina's house, the guards were blinded by a strange light. Kaguya Hime announced that, though she loved her many friends on Earth, she must return with the Moon People to her true home. She wrote sad notes of apology to her parents and to the Emperor. She then took a small taste of the elixir of life, attached it to her letter to the Emperor, and gave it to a guard officer. As she handed it to him, the feather robe was placed on her shoulders, and all of her sadness and compassion for the people of Earth were forgotten. The heavenly entourage took Kaguya Hime back to Tsuki no Miyako, the capital of the moon, leaving her earthly foster parents in tears.
The parents became very sad and were soon put to bed sick. The officer returned to the Emperor with the items Kaguya Hime had given him and as her last moral act, and reported what had happened. The Emperor read the letter and was overcome with sadness. He asked his servants, "Which mountain is the closest place to heaven?" To which one replied, "The great mountain of Suruga province." The Emperor ordered his men to take the letter to the summit of the mountain and burn it, in the hope that his message would reach the distant princess. The men were also commanded to burn the elixir of immortality, since the Emperor did not wish to live forever without being able to see her. The legend has it that the word immortality, or Fuji, became the name of the mountain, Mount Fuji. It is also said that the kanji for the mountain, literally, some note that we don't need to know, is derived from the Emperor's army ascending the slopes of the mountain to carry out his order. It is also said that the smoke from the burning still rises to this day. In the past, Mount Fuji was a more active volcano.
Yeah.
So this story essentially, very interesting, but it also tells you where Mount Fuji got its name and references Mount Fuji as a volcanic mountain.
Yeah.
Cool.
We also have the other one, and I'm just going to kind of highlight it because I actually think it's the most. It actually tells like a moral story, and that's the Stonecutter.
Mm-hmm.
The Stonecutter is a story about a man who cuts stone for a living, and he's unhappy with his lot in life after seeing the home of a very rich person whom he's delivering a slab of stone for a grave. And there is this, I'll call it like a magic genie or something type of thing, and that grants him that will grant you wishes. And the spirit basically, he says that he wants to be very wealthy, right? But even though he's wealthy and he has his umbrella, etc., he's still overcome by the power of the sun and becomes tan. And as we know from Japanese culture, being tan means that you're a peasant and you're working out in the fields, and that's not what you want. You want to be very pale looking. And so he's like, "Oh, drat! I wish I was strong like the sun." And so the spirit makes him the sun, and subsequently he gets frustrated because the clouds block out his rays, and so he wishes to be a cloud. And subsequently he gets frustrated because the rain from his clouds cannot destroy the rocks on the earth, right? So he wishes to be a rock, only to realize that when he was a man, he was cutting rocks in the first place. And so he wishes to be a man once again, and essentially learns to be happy and live with his lot in life and not be too overcome by what he doesn't have. So the moral is basically to be happy with what you have in life and not worry about it. So.
One of the other things that I wanted to make sure was mentioned too before we kind of get into our final story, is someone mentioned in the chat, and I forgot who because it was a little while ago, but when we were starting the topic, they mentioned the fact that they were wondering if, some of the stuff that you see in anime, if, it actually is rooted in folklore. And
Heavy influence.
And I think we already touched on that some by just seeing in the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. some of the influence there. But the short answer is yes. A lot of the Yomu come from various lore. For example, the Buddhist Hell Scrolls, something that is way before Common Era. Those have some of the first and earliest depictions of Oni and
Devils.
Yeah, devils, and that's kind of where we get our modern day depiction of kind of how they look. But one worth mentioning that I just love because I forgot what it was from. It was part of a series of like little short vignettes made by famous directors that I watched when I was living in Japan and taking that class on anime. But one that a lot of people really like is, of course, the kitsune, or the fox spirits. And the fox was considered one of the rain spirits and a messenger of Inari, the rice god, so very important. And the fox also symbolizes longevity and protection from evil. But it's really interesting because the fox is so, like, highly respected. Sometimes they are perceived as having, like, illusionary magic and will make themselves look like beautiful women to seduce men and things like that. But one of my favorite stories, and it was the short story in the movie, is basically a child was out playing in the woods, and he happened to catch a glimpse of a kitsune wedding procession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the kitsune, of course, were aware that he saw it, and he went home and he told his mother, I saw the kitsune wedding procession, and his mother said, well, and literally in this thing, this mother hands this like 8-year-old a knife, like that, like a foot or so, not a foot, like 6 inches, 8 inches long, and she hands him a knife and goes, you know what to do, and then puts him outside the door and closes the door. And basically it's that because he saw the kitsune wedding procession, he had to either kill himself or go to the kitsune and beg them for their forgiveness. And
foolish mortal.
And normally the kitsune end up killing you anyway, just because they're pissed. And so
Well, it's not his fault.
In the movie, it's never resolved. He decides to go off and try to beg for forgiveness from the kitsune. And I don't know. I'm not caught up on all lore. I'd like to think that sometime the kitsune, because they are kind of that like chaotic neutral, I'd say, type being, where I'm sure they do let some people go, but yeah. So kitsune, fun stuff. And I think I just remember the name of those short stories. So talk while I look something up.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to mention, and I think it's really important, and there's innumerable stories from the Shinto religion, but one of the most important stories from the Shinto religion is the story of Izanagi and Izanami, which are basically the people, the two gods that essentially gave birth to Japan and the world. They're the celestial gods, the number 1A, right, of the Shinto religion. Basically, what happens is that the two marry, and I believe that Izanagi is either one of their names is the name of the persona of the main character from Persona 4. Did you find the name of your book?
I did. It's actually not a book, and the reason why I remembered it and the reason why we watched it is because it was made by Akira Kurosawa.
And there you go.
It's called Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. It was made in 1990, and it's not anime. It's a live action film, but it was based off of actual dreams of Akira Kurosawa's at different stages in his life. And the first one is called Sunshine Through the Rain, and that's about the kitsune. So if you want to watch it, it's kind of a little bit of a metaphorical head trip.
You should watch it anyway because Akira Kurosawa is amazing.
Yeah. Akira Kurosawa and I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai.
Right. Very nice. Nice reference.
Thanks.
Those of you listening, you're going to notice that a lot of these names are found in various video games. I would just tell you 3 games right now. Anything from the Shin Megami Tensei series, particularly Persona.
Yeah.
Also, the game Okami for the PS2 and Wii, I guess, if you count the Wii as a system. I don't. Burn! Oh,
Ouch.
snap! Basically, okay, so Izanami and Izanagi are the 2 celestial gods of the heavens for the Shinto religion. Together they are the creators of the Japanese islands. And it's important to note that at the time that this folklore was written, Japan was basically all that was known of the known world. Okay? And that doesn't even include Hokkaido and Ryukyu. They weren't even discovered yet. So, they created Japan, but according to the Shinto religion, Japan is the world. So basically, these two, they're basically
that's like
the creators
most
of the
ancient
world.
religions,
Right.
We are the center of the universe.
Yes, exactly. And they actually say that in the article that Japan is considered the center of the world.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is that the two make love and they're trying to have a child. You nodding your head in approval?
Boom boom.
They're making the boom boom. And their attempt at mating, it's actually their second attempt, but the first attempt isn't really important to note because it was a failure. Create the 8 largest islands of Japan, and the bubbles and the consequent bubbles from that create in the ocean gave rise to the smaller islands and the foreign lands. The next birth that Izanami is the woman, the female. Izanami gives birth to a fire god, Kagutsuchi.
Speaking of Shin Megami Tensei.
Kagutsuchi is a nocturne. It's actually the name of the sun that has the phases.
Yeah.
So you'll note that. Essentially, what happens is that Izanami is killed in the birth because she's burned to death by the fire god. Okay, you have a god of fire coming out of your womb. Not pleasant.
Kind of like a vampire. That is the only Twilight reference I will ever make in my entire life.
All right. You may now not talk for the next 5 minutes. I'm timing it. I'm timing it.
I only like it because he rips it out with his teeth, and I wanted her to die.
Okay, you're done. I'm timing it. So what happens is that Izanagi, he mourns the loss of his lover, right? And what he does is that he kills Kagutsuchi with a sword, and the pieces of Kagutsuchi become gods, and the splattered blood from the killing become the Milky Way galaxy. He cuts Kagutsuchi's body into 8 pieces, which become 8 volcanoes on Japan, because he's a fire god. Get it? So we now have the islands and the volcanoes and the subsequent islands around the main islands.
And the Milky Way.
The Milky Way. The blood that dripped off the sword created a number of deities, including the sea god Watatsumi and the rain god Kuraokami. So we now have the ocean and the rain. The tears that he mourned his lover also become more deities. I think I already said that. Kagutsuchi's birth in Japanese mythology comes at the end of creation of the world and marks the beginning of death, because it's the first mention of death in the Shinto religion, Izanami's death. What happens is that Izanagi actually goes to Yomi, the underworld, to retrieve his lover. I believe that there's a Greek mythology on this as well.
Yeah,
I can never remember
Orpheus, or I think it's Orpheus and
Eurydice. He goes down, and basically Izanami cannot come back with him.
That's so funny that 2 different cultures, thousands of miles apart, come up with the same kind of verbatim practically.
She falls asleep according to this text. She falls asleep at one point, and he creates a source of light, and sees her decaying body, freaks out, and leaves, and declares that he will divorce her, even though she's already dead. She gets mad and says that she will take 1,000 lives away from the earth every year. And in response, Izanagi replies that he will give life to 1,500 beings per year. And thus we have the ever-growing population of the earth. So now we have growing populations. Seeing the taint of the underworld, Izanagi seeks to purify himself, and he plunges himself into a river, and as he bathes, goddesses are basically born from his body. From his left eye, the goddess Amaterasu, whom we all know from numerous things, comes forth. And from his right eye, Tsukiyomi, and from his nose, the god Susanoo. Amaterasu is the sun goddess of the Shinto religion. Tsukiyomi is the Shinto deity that rules over the night sky and the moon, and Susanoo is the god of the restless seas. And so thus we have a large portion of the creation of the earth.
Yeah.
And there's a ton. I mean, we could not possibly cover all of this.
And when he sneezed, that's how the dinosaurs were made.
There's individual folklores for Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, Susanoo, Kuraokami, Watatsumi, Yomi, and all of the others, but obviously we can't cover that there because each of those is going to have like 4 more gods in them. And
really, I'm a huge theology person myself. I love researching religion. I love researching how religions have evolved over time and like how they've influenced politics and how the world has influenced them. So, I mean, I'd have to say if you're interested in what we've talked about tonight at all, just start Googling like the history of Shinto and just see what you can find.
I'm pulling up the name of this text. A.B. Mitford, Tales of Old Japan, published in 1871, but I'm guessing you can find the book somewhere.
Probably. It might even be on, like, Google Books since it's so old, but still, like, historical. It might be, like, public and easy to find.
There's also... That book has over 200 pages, so it has lots of tales from Japan in it. Also, the Crimson Fairy book by Andrew Lang has tales in it that you can read. Myths and Legends of Japan, written by F. Hadlin Davis in 1917. It also has a large amount of tales in it. All these books seem like they have a lot of pages, but if you look up any of those that I just listed, you probably have at least some interesting reading material to get you started.
Well, I'm sure probably a lot of them are a lot of pages, but kind of like the tale of the bamboo cutter. It might only take up the span of 2 pages, so it might be a really easy read. So, I like it. I liked this topic. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wish we could cover more of it, but this is the kind of thing that you would take a whole college course on and still cover 5% of it.
And still not cover nearly... There is a reason why people can be religion majors in some colleges,
Yeah.
And specialize only in one religion.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed the topic. Maybe we'll do it again. God knows there's enough.
Funny.
God knows that there's enough lore out there that we could have a whole year of podcast episodes on it. But we just covered some of the important areas, But for now, we're going to take a quick news break, and when we come back, we have 3 reviews for you, all requested by the forum. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Hey, all you listeners out there, enjoying your summer with your own beach day episode? This is Chiaki, and this is your anime news break. First up, the North American magazine Otaku USA has recently announced that a digital edition is now available of its August 2012 issue. The bi-monthly publication is the only regularly published North American anime magazine on newsstands. If you're interested in taking a look at this digital edition, it's available from Apple's iTunes and App Store or from the Pocket Mag's website on multiple platforms. In some merchandise news, the Kensen Production Company's Art of War store has recently announced that it will re-release a popular statue of the main character Guts from Kentaro Miura's Berserk manga. Art of War will re-release Guts, the Battle for Doldry 1/10th scale statue at the end of July or early August 2012. The company has added several artistic details to this version of the statue, using a level of reproduction skill it notes was not available 15 years ago when the statue was originally released. Shading has been added to the statue's mantle, and dust effects have been added to the statue's body, outfit, horse, armor, and helmet. In addition, a different shade of silver was used to create the armor and give it a more realistic sheen, and blood was added to Guts' body and sword. The statue will retail for about 60,000 yen, which is about a little over 750 US dollars, and is a part of a limited set of 100. The statue looks beautiful, it's clearly a work of art, and clearly you have to be a pretty serious collector to purchase it. And in some merchandise news that it will be sure to please some of you gamers out there, the video game accessory developer Hori has recently announced that it will release a new Dragon Quest Slime keyboard on August 2nd. Designed to be paired with the Dragon Quest X Meizameshi Itsusu no Shuzoku online game for the Nintendo Wii and Wii U, the keyboard will offer players an easier way to chat with the other players in game. Dragon Quest X is the first online game in the Square Enix series. The keyboard features Slime, a recurring mascot monster from the franchise, and the official licensed peripheral will retail for only 3,980 yen, which is about $51, a much more reasonable price than a $700-something statue. It also includes 12 miniature slime figures on each of the function keys. All keys are printed with a pixelated dot font in homage to the in-game text. Sounds like something that might be a little bit frivolous of a purchase, but fun nonetheless. This was Chiaki, and this was your Anime News Break. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back to the show soon.
Dearly beloved, let us bow our heads and pray. For on this day he hath come, and he hath built a Facebook page, so that we can smite Italia cosplayers, send them to the layers of hell to be with Manfei and the Moe characters, and we can show people the light of true anime wisdom. Amen. If you would like to hear these words and more every day, join the Church of Mitsugi on Facebook. Facebook.com/Church of Mitsugi. Amen.
And we're back again with the 136th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Boom. 3 anime reviews.
It just seemed like it was only 135 episodes was only yesterday. Or, yeah, I said that right.
Yeah, although that was 3 years ago. Haha!
I know.
So, we have 3 reviews, as I said. We're going to start with the Yaoi review to force you all to listen to it.
Yay!
Before we get to the other reviews. We'll probably do Chiaki's review last, since I have a feeling it's probably the best of the 3 shows.
Yay, butt sex.
It's
Oh
called...
wait, it's fitting that we have our butt pirate here.
Oh, the butt pirate is in the chat to observe the anime about butt sex.
You're welcome.
It's Winter Cicada. What is this anime about?
Okay, so it's a 3-part yaoi story of awesome, or moderately awesome, that spans the war that's between the war-torn era when the Japanese turned from a shogunate to rest of the world. So
Oh, so it's about
It's-
the Meiji Revolution. That's the right period.
I feel like that is
No.
involved, but it's mostly about their like transition into kind of Western feel, at least in terms of like imports and exports, and accepting the fact that the rest of the world is going to eventually kind of become a part of their general civilization. It was interesting. It felt very historical to me, even though I know absolutely nothing about history. But it was interesting enough that it kept my attention the entire time. So, but it focuses primarily around two people of separate clans around 1862. So there are two clans that don't really associate with each other very well. And, I mean, they would even be considered, like, the dividing force in Japan at that point, the two separate areas that are at war with each other. And the two people from within those two clans end up falling in love, and they
Like butt sex?
like butt sex a lot.
Oh.
They actually end up, I guess, giving themselves to each other before one of them, the person involved in I want to say it's the Choshu clan. Yes, the Choshu clan. Ends up going to London because he's one of the few in the Choshu clan who believes that Western influence in their culture is a good thing. And
You have to have like an Asian studies
learn
minor
about it to bring back knowledge for the rest of his clan to prove to them that it's a good thing and such. And when he returns, they're in the middle of a war between the Choshu and the Bakufu, which are the shogunate samurai. And huge war that actually is being run by the guy that the Choshu clan member is in love with. And it's ridiculous. It's weird. They try to keep this love story going on between them, and they do a pretty decent job, but mostly it just feels like a big history lesson in this, and I suppose that gives it a little bit of merit because they definitely do their research for this one. And even though I don't know much about historical Japanese war periods and eras, I feel like I did learn a lot about what was going on, at least in the area of the 1860s, because they go back a couple of years into the past around like 1856, 1857, and then all the way up to 1869, I believe. And they talk a lot about the different clans and how they were affected, how some of them were very stuck in their ways in that period, and how the mostly the Bakufu clans or the shogunate samurai clans were very pro-Western society and influenced by the Western influence and such, and how it really tore those two pieces of Japan apart, and how it really tore their love apart. And all in all, it ended up being a really, really sad OVA. So there are only 3 episodes of it, and by the end of it, it's very bittersweet because a lot of stuff has changed in that time between clans or these families in Japan, and it ends up making them more well-rounded as Japanese society. But this focal point, these two people who are the romantic center of the plot, not really getting the life that they'd hoped for at the very beginning of this anime, and it's kind of sad. I don't want to give too much away, or should I? Because I mean, I feel like not very many people are gonna watch this.
I have questions.
Huh?
I have questions.
Yes.
Is Commodore Perry in this? And if so, does he... Why are you giving me that look?
Who's Commodore Perry?
Commodore Perry?
Huh?
Commodore Perry...
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were making a pop culture reference, and I was like...
Commodore Perry is the commander
the sailor.
that came in and occupied Japan.
Yeah, I got it.
It sounds historical, so it's pertinent. It's a pertinent question.
Who was the person that you're talking about? Commodore Perry?
Commodore Perry, yeah.
I don't think that name ever came up, actually.
Is Kenshin in this?
Does that make it less historical than I think it is?
What? No,
They,
it sounds historical. That's why I was asking.
well, they bring up a lot of information, but that name never really comes up at all, so I don't know.
Probably not important. It's not...
the things that it covers are the Ezo War, the Edo period, the conflict between the Chosho and the Bakufu or the shogunate. There's also something called the third episode revolves around what's called the Tokyo tragedy. I don't know if that means anything to you. Well, it's like I said, it felt very historical, but I know absolutely nothing about Japanese historical culture and the wars that happened around the 1860s. So it could be a load of bullcrap for all I know.
No, it sounds.
But it felt historically relevant.
No, the Choshu and the Bakufu were definitely real figures in Japanese history, and
okay.
I'm sorry, one of the people is of the Bakufu.
Yeah, one of them's
okay.
the Bakufu. One of them's from the Bakufu, and the other one is from the Choshu, and they were the two who ended up falling in love. So it's very a Romeo and Juliet sort of
gonna say that
love story. Yeah, definitely
with butt sex.
With butt sex.
Lots of. Well, actually, not a lot.
Didn't you say though that there was for real butt sex in it? It wasn't just like completely like there was like
No, there were two legitimate scenes. One of which was very like it was kind of implied but not really shown. The other was shown towards like the beginning. I want to say it was towards the end of the first of the 3 OVAs, and it was an actual genuine sex scene, but it wasn't like porn. It was like like HBO level.
I was gonna say like an HBO special where you're like, yeah, you're getting it on, but you're not actually showing penetration.
Exactly. That's what it was. So it was like they threw that in as an emphasizer to kind of throw in a little bit of risque-ness, but it wasn't like this was meant to be a porno.
Mitsuki, is your butthole tightening? He looks like he's struggling.
Oh boy.
Is Kenshin in this?
I mean,
where's Kenshin?
What?
Where's Kenshin? And if he's not in this, I'm glad.
He's not in this.
Okay, good.
If he is, then he's hidden in the background, and I just missed him.
MDL Track does bring up a good point that I think might be, a lot of people might be in this case. He asks, okay, I'm a history nut, but as a straight male, will I be comfortable watching this?
Honestly, I don't know. Because, I mean, there's definitely a lot of historical factors involved in this anime. But that being said, it is an anime based of story between these two men. And it's very well done. It's very classy, in my opinion, in comparison to some of the other yaoi that I've seen. But it's not something that you should watch just for the history aspect. You have to, I feel like you have to kind of want to see this romantic love story take place between two. And if you're okay, you're not exactly a homophobe, or you don't exactly, have any problem with watching a romantic love story take place between two guys, then, I mean, by all means, I learned a lot. I mean, if these were all accurate representations of what's going on around that time, I definitely learned a lot about historical Japan. But I also really wanted to see the love story between these two guys going on. So it's a hit or miss.
So there's butt sex, but it's classy, so it's okay.
It's classy butt sex. Exactly.
The answer to your question about the straight male thing is that no, it's not okay. And you should not encourage. There's plenty of Romeo and Juliet stories out there, including Romeo x Juliet, that you could go watch if you want to watch that story.
I was going to say, too, though, I do think, if you're not interested in the yaoi at all, there are a number of really historically accurate anime. Like, what was that one that got no love but was good? Hyogemono?
Hyogemono was pretty... Yeah, it was... I don't know, I'm not sure how accurate it was, but I didn't watch that much of it, but it was... Yeah, it got no love.
But...
It got no butt sex.
I just... But that's what I'm saying. I think there are a lot of other historic fictions and historically accurate anime that you could watch that will not make you uncomfortable if you are a heterosexual male who doesn't want to watch butt sex.
Truth.
All right, Mitsuki.
Did you ever give it a score?
That's right. Score.
Oh, I never gave it a score. I'm gonna assume that all of the historical references are accurate and give it a 3 Meiji era butt sexes out of 5. It's Meiji era, right? I'm assuming it's the Meiji era.
We
sounds
agree
like
that it sounds like it.
It sounds like
Okay.
it's in the transition between the Tokugawa and the Meiji period.
So 3 Meiji/Tokugawa period butt sexes out of 5. Because it did well for itself. I mean, the animation was kind of less than I'm normally used to, but it was ignorable for the historical impact that it seemed to have for itself. So yes,
Exciting.
3.
Now we will get rid of the yaoi over and undertones for you manly men out there with some Dragon Ball Z.
Woo!
I'm gonna pump the dragon.
Pump the Dragon Fist. So, I am reviewing the history of Bardock. That's what I'm going to call it because there's also a history of Trunks. But let us not get the two confused because History of Trunks is, in my humble opinion, the best thing that Dragon Ball Z ever put out. And the history of Bardock's not bad, but it's not as good. Basically, it's about Goku's father, Bardock, and the destruction of the true destruction of Planet Vegeta. This special comes out sometime after Dragon Ball Z had already been airing for some time. So even though you're led to believe for a large majority of Dragon Ball Z that a comet blew up Planet Vegeta, in reality it's Frieza that blows up Vegeta. And that's the planet, not the person, although I'm pretty sure that Frieza blows up the person Vegeta also. Maybe a couple times.
Frieza just likes blowing up Vegetas.
Well, Vegeta just likes losing all the fights he gets in because he's a pansy.
But at least he looks good doing it.
So you have Bardock, who is basically a Saiyan in the service of Vegeta. He's a squadron leader type of thing, and he has his own crew. And they go out and they conquer planets for Frieza. Not a whole lot to it. Not Trunks. Vegeta, Vegeta is in the movie. He's a child. He's still a badass.
I was gonna say, is he like a little bitch? Or is he...
No, he's not. He's a badass. He's arrogant, and he's the prince of all Saiyans. So, they show him training and things like that. You have Nappa's in it. Goku, of course, is in it, but he's a baby the whole time. So you also have some of Frieza's henchmen are in it that you'll recognize from DBZ, like Dodoria. Dodoria plays a part in the show because he actually destroys Bardock's comrades. What happens is that Bardock, in one of the missions, he's given a psychic power by one of the remnants of a military force that didn't die, kind of lingering around the battlefield. And Bardock has to stay behind and not go on the next mission because, while in the healing chamber, the scientists notice that Bardock has some weird brainwave stuff going on. And what's happening is that he's seeing, the first 25 years of Goku's life on Earth, which are basically snippets from DBZ and Dragon Ball, and also witnessing what you actually see later in the special, which is the destruction of the planet and his own death, etc. I'm spoiling the whole special, but I don't really care.
It came out how many years ago?
I don't know.
A long time.
I don't know. 10 years at least. So, it's pretty short. It's 50 minutes long. It's about 2 episodes in length. And after Bardock's crew gets destroyed, Bardock pretty much wipes out the people that killed the crew, except for Dodoria, who leaves. And Bardock comes back, and he tries to warn all the other Saiyans on the planet, because Bardock actually doesn't die, that Frieza's going to blow up the planet. Frieza has grown afraid of the Saiyans because they're doing so well on the missions that he recognizes that their strength is growing, and he sees them as somewhat of a threat. So I guess it's one of those things where when someone gets too strong and it becomes a threat to overthrow your power, you basically just, wipe them out. And, Bardock tries his best, but nobody really heeds his warning. And in the end, Frieza gets pissed and shoots a giant death ball at Vegeta and kills everybody. Except Goku, who leaves on the space pod, who was sent out on the space pod like an hour before the planet blew up. And Nappa and Vegeta, whom are out on a mission. And I guess if you watch DBZ, Raditz, Turles, Broly, and maybe like one more. I can't remember. I think that might be it. It's about right, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they always seem to find a new Saiyan that didn't die to throw at you. And then the end of the movie shows Goku being found by Grandpa Gohan in the Dragon Ball, and naming him Goku, etc. And that's the end. So it essentially shows the background behind Vegeta's destruction, Goku's father, how Goku got to Earth, etc.
And a little bit of the Saiyan saga too, because Vegeta's in there.
Someone in the chat asks, the second or the third Dragon Ball Z movie villain was also a Saiyan. That was the second movie, Tree of Might, and that was Turles.
And that was one of the best Dragon Ball Z movies.
It was alright.
I don't know, it was my favorite.
It was your favorite?
Yeah.
I kind of think all the movies are sort of mediocre.
Well, I mean,
but
I said best of the Dragon Ball Z movies. We're comparing apples to apples on this one.
Yeah, I guess it's better than. It has a smaller sci-fi element to it, so they get kind of crazy later when there's like Cyborg, XYZ, and I'd rather just have a straight up Saiyan on Saiyan battle. But
you're just saying.
I'm just saying. So it's not bad. It has about the same level of animation you'd expect from Dragon Ball Z. It has a moderate amount of fighting in it. The voice I watched the dub and it was unfortunate. Funimation did not do a particularly good job. I did have a notion that during watching it that I think that Frieza's voice actress is probably the same actress that does Genkai. Maybe you can confirm that for me. I don't know. Frieza and Genkai, I think, have the same voice actress. I'm not sure. Genkai being from Yu Yu Hakusho. But I'm just speculating. Could be wrong. It's not bad. The music is pretty much non-existent. Yeah, but...
Don't pump the dragon?
Yeah, but, I'm actually playing music in the background right now that is not from this special. It's just old school, like, 90s original Japanese Dragon Ball Z music, which isn't even in the dub version, which is sad, but... yeah, they changed all that stuff up. But... I guess it's important to watch it if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan. They make reference to the stuff in this special a lot during the actual show. So, but it's not really that great. I mean, I think that the history of Trunks is marvelous.
No, who is it that you wanted to know if
Frieza and Genkai. But you have to get the right Frieza voice because there's probably like 9 of them.
He was Genkei and Mononoke, but I don't have Genkai.
Skeptical.
Well, I picked the Frieza that was in... Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing Japanese voices.
Alright, I'll take care of this.
Sorry. No. Keep talking. I have it right here.
But, it's not really above and beyond Dragon Ball Z. It's definitely short of History of Trunks. I don't think I could give it...
Yes. The answer
right?
is yes.
Oh, I'm just so good.
And the voice actress is Linda Young.
Linda Young?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't sound young. I'm gonna give it 2.5 Death Balls out of 5. It's about average for Dragon Ball Z. If you watch the History of Trunks first, you're probably sadly disappointed by it because History of Trunks just has this sense of urgency the whole time. Everybody's dead,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we've done History of Trunks yet, but
I don't think we have.
I would have given it a better score than a 2.5. But for those of you that haven't seen it, I think it's worth watching. It's extremely short. It gives you a little more backstory into Dragon Ball Z, which, for a shonen show that oftentimes lack backstory, is something that's nice. It's the same way with History of Trunks. Trunks just shows up in Dragon Ball Z, says all the androids are killing everybody, and you're like, what? But then they make the special and it fills in the gap real nicely.
Yeah.
So it's not bad, but it's about what you'd expect from Dragon Ball Z. I recommend it to fans of the show that haven't already seen it.
All right.
Your show sounds like the most interesting of the three. And by the way, that last request was requested by Anomalia. And Winter Cicada was requested by Bursting Out Life.
And mine was requested by Shadow of a Heart. And the anime which I am reviewing is Eiyu Densetsu Sora no Kiseki. And it is an OVA, 2 episodes, 40 minutes piece. And I'm going to try to explain this in a way that is the least confusing possible. This OVA was included with a special limited edition set of Shinki Kitsuki's first manga volume. That was a manga that I don't know if it's still running. I think it's still running. Of the same name, Eiyu Densetsu Sora no Kiseki. And then the manga was based off of a video game series that's been running since like 1989 in different like big arcs. So the first series was like the Dragon Slayer, and then like the second series was the Garhov trilogy, and now we're in the Trail series. And this one is specifically based off of the Legend of Heroes, Sora no Kiseki, of the same title, or Trails in the Sky is the English version. And it is actually a PSP game. So if you have a PSP and you want to play it, you can download it or buy it legally and have it shipped. And I actually found a video of the gameplay on YouTube. It looks like traditional JRPG turn-based type thing. But I am going to read the manga summary. Now, I didn't read the manga, obviously, but it is probably the closest thing to a summary which I will be able to give, and I will explain that after the summary. So, in the southwest area of the Zamula continent, one will find the tiny Liberal Kingdom, a small monarchy that has managed to defy all odds against attempts to overcome them during war. Liberal is split into 5 regions: Rolent, Bose, Rouen, Zeus, and Grancel. In the city of Rolent, Cassius Bright has raised 2 children by himself, Estiel and Joshua. He taught them everything he knows and encourages them to sign up to become apprentices in the Bracers Guild. Soon after, however, he receives a letter and has to leave on business, leaving Estelle and Joshua to fend for themselves. While working, they receive notice one day that their father's airship has gone missing. With this in mind, the 2 gear themselves up to set off and find the ship and save their father. And the reason why I read that summary is because there is no possible way, watching this OVA, that you would get any of that. They give you like a 3-minute kind of summary where they talk about all these kind of like, the orb technology comes and it helps people live, but of course people are making it for war. So it kind of like sets you up a little bit with the world, but then the characters just start fighting each other. Like literally, it's like opening sequence, date screen, guy's kissing a girl collapses, guy runs away because he like poisoned her or whatever. 3 years later, and then they're like fighting each other. Not the same guy and the same girl, but the girl's there. The guy is MIA. And so it's like, and it just starts going.
So there's basically it could have used a bit of exposition and gave none.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is like I said before, it was included with a special edition set of the manga. So it's not really meant to go with it's meant to go with the manga. It's meant to go with the game. It's not really meant to be its own thing. So it just kind of goes and it kind of starts and it runs along with itself. I have to say that despite the WTF is going on, that this OVA was, I actually kind of enjoyed it. in an odd kind of way. And I think that the reason why I enjoyed it was because it was decently animated and the fight scenes were good. Like, the fight scenes were animated out. It wasn't like fight scenes where they're like, you know, they pull back the camera and you just see like swooshing of swords and hear like clashing on over the music. So it was animated well enough that I enjoyed it, and it had good enough fight scenes that I didn't mind watching it. But that being said, if you just want to watch something for the sake of watching something, like if you're one of those people who like, I've seen everything, and you literally have seen everything, then yeah, sure, go ahead, watch it. It's not like it's going to take up too much of your time. But I have to say, like, I almost kind of wish they had more time. I almost kind of wish that they did make it into, like, a full-fledged series. I feel like I read somewhere that they were thinking of releasing something in 2012 or 2013 that was an actual series. I mean, the game series has been going on for, like, a decade plus now. But, I don't know. But, overall, like, this OVA, like I said, it's well-produced. The characters aren't even that bad. Like, you kind of get into the characters. The world seems like fun. But it is a teaser. I mean, that's what it was meant to be, and that's what it is.
There's not enough of it.
Yeah, there's not enough of it. And I mean, I did almost like it enough that I'm thinking of reading the manga. And I really would love to see a full-on series, but, you know, it wasn't a waste of my life, but...
So it's not self-sustainable.
Exactly.
They expect you to watch it, and then it's kind of like the dot hack liminality that came out with the first dot hack game. It just teases you, and then the game starts.
I think it's more of the... So you've been playing the games for like 4 years, and now we're coming out with a manga, and you're super hyped about the manga, and you've read some of it, and now we're just going to give this to you because you're like a hardcore fan. And you know, you're going to fangasm over it. That's what it feels like to me, more than like a, you know, this is an anime, true anime. Because there is a number of fan servicey, like... There's only 80 minutes of this, and they squeeze in a bath scene where they're all naked. I mean, they don't show, like, nipple, but, you know.
Typical anime.
So, like, it definitely seems like there's a fan service element of, this one is for you fans. That being said, I'm actually not going to give it too awful of a score. I'm going to give it 2.5 pole-wielding people fighting out of 5.
Was that the third 2.5? We gave?
I thought was Kimiko's a 3? Or was
Mine was a 3.
Yeah, it was a 3.
So wait. So the Yaoi anime got the best score? Wow. Yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of 5 because I enjoyed it so much more, even though it had so many plot problems, than so many other anime that I've watched recently. But, yeah. So, 2.5 out of 5. And that is my review.
Well.
Hold on.
Yeah?
Bum sex.
What?
Tony Tiger requested in the chat.
Confused. That's me right now.
Oh, well, they wanted it to... He wanted someone to say bum sex, so I said bum sex.
I'm not used to the M in that sentence.
Yeah. Tushy sex.
Tushy sex.
Tushy sex.
So, that is the conclusion of the 136th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Got a lot of requested stuff done tonight. Granted, we're still like 3 years worth of content short of catching up. Literally.
Someday, when we have nothing to do.
Someday, when they stop making new anime, we will still have enough reviews to do another 300 shows.
Yeah.
So, thank you for everybody who came and watched live. We actually had a lot of people on tonight.
Yeah, it was good.
So, I guess the Japanese mythology must have been a draw. But, come visit us on our website, AAApodcast.com. You can find out what's going on. The bloggers are great. Join the forum and interact with those people because we have a wide range of diversified personalities, and some good people.
Not to mention, you can do things like post on our Ask Us Anything threads. That mine
Yeah.
is like 27 pages long now.
Ask us our darkest secrets, and we will answer them if
Normally,
we feel like
Yep.
it.
Open book.
So, also come listen to us on iTunes. If you subscribe, iTunes will let you know when new episodes have been put out. Pretty much caught up on the episodes. We were behind for a while, but we're pretty much caught up. And also on Facebook at facebook.com/Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. And of course, live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ustream.tv. Links for that on the top page of the website. And generally, there's also a Facebook event on Facebook, if I remember to make it for it. The closing theme for you tonight is a little ditty that I like to call Kono te de Idaki Tomeru Kara from the anime Hiro no Kakera by the artist Shuhei Kita. And we hope you guys have a great week.
Stay classy, anime fans.
夕がこぼれてる並木道いいやったり笑ったり不思議と安心するよあの日君と出会って二人こうして過ごして芽生えてきた感情がある君を守るために僕は今ここにいる君はすぐに強がるけれど弱さも全て受け止めるからどんなに小さなことでも頼っていいんだよもし君がつまずいた時はこの手で